Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the We're Not Stumped podcast. I'm your host, Mike Bolland, and today is headlines. Remember, headlines come out every Thursday, and what I do is I scour the internet. I take hours upon hours upon hours to look at all the things that are happening in the limb loss community and then report it back to you on Thursdays. Okay, maybe I don't spend that much time, but I do look for very interesting stories or have them submitted to me by listeners. So if you want to do that, if you want me to talk about a little bit about your event or what you have going, some of your worthy headlines within the limb loss community, go to we'renotstumped.com and fill out the contact us page. That's what I do every Thursday, and today is Thursday, October 24th. This is headlines for the week of October 21st, 2024. A couple show notes. Just last Tuesday, I recorded a podcast with Susan Fumagalli, and she's a bilateral above knee amputee, and she's had osseointegration. So a lot of listeners have reached out wondering when I was going to interview someone who's had osseointegration. Well, guess what? I just did that 2 days ago, and that's going to go live on November 5th. So mark your calendars for Susan. She is a fantastic person with a very interesting all-around story and talks in depth about her osseointegration. So if you want to learn more about that, listen on November 5th. And also, just 2 days ago, the podcast with Chris Rodriguez from Ability 360, one of the top disability programs in the country, if not the world. That is an amazing organization. Not only do they have some of the best state-of-the-art facilities in the country, Paralympians, champions train there, but they also have home remodeling for the disabled community, job placement. They do everything. It's Ability 360. Take a couple minutes and listen to that podcast. Tomorrow, on October 24th, I'm going to be recording a podcast with John Larson. He's in a movie called Dorama. He is a bilateral upper extremity amputee. He's lost both of his hands. He's in a movie called Dorama, and I'm going to read the title and the description in IMDb. Patrick, a bitter wheelchair user, enlists the help of his cantankerous neighbor Robert, who is a double amputee, played by John Lawson, transport his 4-year-old daughter he never knew he had to live with her maternal grandparents on the other side of the country. So I'm going to be interviewing John tomorrow. That's going to be coming out on the 29th because of scheduling. That one's going to come out a little quicker. Learn more about John, learn more from the producers, learn more about that movie starring someone within the limb loss community. How fun is that going to be? So let's get into the headlines for this week. Headline number one, and this one comes from the Danny Awards. I don't know if I hadn't heard of the Danny Awards, and what a fantastic organization. When you read something like I do about this organization, it makes you wonder how I hadn't heard of this before, but I'm so glad I heard about this now. The Danny Awards and the organization itself, the Danny Awards are put on by Daniels Music Foundation, which was founded in 2006 by the Trush family to empower individuals with disabilities through music after one of 5 undetected brain aneurysms burst in their son Daniel's head. Today, they serve thousands of individuals locally at their 8,700 square foot music center in New York City and nationally through their DMF online community. Their mission is to provide comfortable and educational social environments in which individuals of all abilities can enjoy, learn, and practice the joy of music together. And in particular, this is the Danny Awards. And oh, by the way, the Resilient Band, who I interviewed in Season 5, Episode 3, they were up for some awards here. So I'm going to give you a brief description of what the Danny Awards is. It's an annual global award show that recognizes musicians with disabilities and celebrates their differences. The event is a culmination of hard work and perseverance of talented musicians who submitted performance videos for consideration from across the country and around the world. The 5th annual Danny Awards will be hosted Saturday, October 19th, so it's already happened. So if you don't know who won yet, I haven't been able to find that information. But I'll tell you what, I was very proud of the Resilient Band to be represented in this competition, and I'm sure they did well. I'm sure everyone in the Danny Awards is very talented. So what a cool thing put on by Daniels Music Foundation. And if you want to get more involved or learn more, about Daniel's Music Foundation, go to danielsmusic.org. Headline number 2, and this is where we as a community can come together. Family rallies to renovate home for teen amputee battling cancer. And this one comes out of Charleston, West Virginia, courtesy of Eyewitness News, Fox 11, and Shelby Burrow is the writer of this. So Myron Cook began his battle with cancer in July with leg pains making him unable to walk in his high school graduation. Shortly after, the 18-year-old had to get his leg amputated as he goes through 6 months of chemo treatments. Cook's family created a GoFundMe for his home renovations to make it handicapped accessible. And they said they were quoted a cost of over $300,000 to do that. Wow. Myron's aunt, Jeanette Bragg, made the GoFundMe to support the heavy renovation cost. And here's a quote from his aunt. They want to stay in their home, so in order to make that happen, we have to help and do some modifications. And that's what his aunt said. She goes on to continue, we're going to make it happen. We're going to do whatever we need to do. No child should ever have to go through this. I agree. The modifications include widening doorways, building a ramp outside, and replacing their gravel driveway. And of course, redoing their bathroom. It just all kind of happened really fast. And he had plans to go to college, and now he's been thrown this curveball. That's what his aunt said. And he has another aunt. Another one of his aunts, Rebecca Bowman, said the family is tight-knit, and they've all come together to be there to support Myron. Here's a quote from her. It's hard. You never realize how much money something costs until something like that happens. And you have to change your whole life around. You have to change to make it work. Bowman said Myron and his parents have been consistently traveling from their home in St. Albans to Cable Huntington Hospital, so she and Bragg have been helping them out any way they can. So if you want to look up GoFundMe and look up Myron Cook, I'm sure you can find it that way if you want to support him. I will have the link in the description, but again, if you're just listening and don't have an opportunity to look at the description, go to GoFundMe, look up Myron Cook, and help him if you are able to help him. Headline number 3 is a kind of a neat little headline. This one comes from Newsweek, and this is courtesy of Alice Collins. And the headline is, Amputee dog trying to give owner her ghost paw melts hearts. And the article goes, the internet has been left in tears by a dog who's had one of her front legs amputated, but she still tries to give her owner her paw. The black dog, named Pepper, had to have her leg amputated in 2023 due to a cancerous tumor. However, she refuses to let that get her down, as her owner, Trent, captured the sweet moment as she tried to give him her ghost paw. The clip, which was shared on TikTok, showed Pepper moving the muscles in her chest as she thought she was stretching her leg out to give the paw. Since it was shared on October 11th, the video has melted plenty of hearts online, leading to more than 1.5 million views and over 289,000 likes on TikTok at the time of this writing. A leg amputation is something that will change a dog's life forever, which is why Pet MD explains they aren't recommended lightly, and usually only one is done as a last resort. There are 3 types of leg amputations for dogs, including a forelimb, which that's what Pepper had, a hind limb, or of course a partial limb amputation. Amputating a leg might be recommended when a dog is suffering from long-term pain, poor mobility, or if keeping the leg will decrease their quality of life. Little shout out to Danielle Robbins, who was on the podcast, just a few weeks ago. She is an orthotics person out of Florida who makes orthotics for dogs and prosthetics for dogs. Humans too. She is trained for both species, let's put it that way. But that's her mission. She is creating orthotics and prosthetics for dogs. So if you have any questions on how this whole thing works, I urge you to go back a couple episodes on the We're Not Stumped podcast and listen to Danielle Robbins. She was a wealth of information. I learned a lot on that episode. So that's it for headlines. We're going to go short. We're going to go sweet this week. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you made it to the end, and you've made it to the end of all the other episodes, you know what I'm going to say here. You know what I'm going to say here. Everybody, especially those in the limb loss community, do me a favor. Have a great week.